Hello and welcome to another episode of the NBL1 show. My name is Matt Hickey, and no, that isn't Bet Cole. That is 250 plus NBL gamer Cole Adnam. Cole, thanks for jumping on.
No worries, thanks for having me.
Now, before we get into all the action that we've seen and what's coming up, you're back in the NBL1 South. You're playing for Sandringham. How's that going?
Yeah, really well. We had a big win on the weekend against Waverley, which was a good start. It's been awesome to sort of reconnect with some old friends. Won a championship with Dave Barlow previously at Melbourne United, so that was really cool to play with him and be coached by him. Dane Pinot, had a lot of years with him at South East Melbourne as well, so yeah, some awesome friends on the team.
What's it like joining a team that has just won a championship and almost a national championship the year before? What's it like joining a team like that?
It's amazing. You know, you're coming into a really great, well-run program. Dave runs a really, really tight ship. Obviously, we've got a lot of talent on the team, which is awesome as well. You know, playing a point guard position, to have those sort of receivers around you is pretty amazing.
Pretty good indeed. And why back to the NBL1 South? We saw you playing up in Queensland during the NBL season, so why the decision to come back to the NBL1 South?
Probably more of a family reason. My wife and I are pregnant. We're expecting in a couple of months, so it's nice to be home around family and friends and all that sort of stuff, support-wise.
Super exciting. He does still have that Cairns glow, by the way, and making me look very pasty standing next to him. Anyway, let's get into the action. So we're going to kick things off with Did You See That? We had a massive weekend of NBL1 hoops across the country, still just waiting on the NBL1 North to tip off. Kyle, let's start off in the East. And a very familiar name and face.
Yeah, Toddy Blanchfield, like a fine wine. My old roommate for many years at Melbourne United. Great guy, he's had a huge weekend. We know what he's able to do last year as well, being the MVP in the East, but 26 and a half, 18 rebounds, 6.5 threes a game. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves.
They certainly do. He had a 25 and 20 game in there, I think, as well. And I don't know about you, but I can still remember him playing for the Townsville Crocs. That's how long he's been going about his business.
I know, and I've played against the Townsville Crocs, so I feel the age there for sure. But, mate, as I said, Toddy's a fine wine. He's an incredible athlete.
He certainly is. Moving now to the South, and I mean, the only person we can really talk about off the top in the South is Matty Rocci. What a game. 37, 10 and 10. Just a pretty handy way to start your season. And let's throw a game winner on top of that as well. Have a look at this from Matty Rocci. So this is with the game on the line. She's got arguably one of the best defenders in the NBL1, Christy Wallace, guarding her, and she still somehow manages to flip it up and in. Truly remarkable. Have you ever had a game winner quite like this, Kyle? Because I don't think she can even see the ring.
I know, this is seriously impressive. I mean, she's a floor general, right? The ball's going to be in her hands at the end of the game, and I think great players make great plays. And you see here with Maddie in the paint, using her pivot works, really important. As you said, Kirsty draped all over her and flicks it up at the ring. You take that.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, defending on your knees as well, and you still get the points gone to you. That is a tough way. And I do have to apologise to Kilo, because at the start of the year, being last week, I said that Knox would go through undefeated, and they have lost the first game of the season, which is just a terrible way to get things underway for me. I might be putting those big calls just in the back pocket for the meantime. Let's move on very quickly, because I don't want to spend any more time talking about that. Braylon Bridges in the NBL1 Central. He caught your eye, Kyle.
He sure did. He's a beast in the paint, big body, amazing touch around the rim. But that big dunk he had for West Adelaide on the weekend was pretty impressive.
Yeah, this is anger. This is when, when the ball almost hits the ground at the same time you do, that you've thrown it down with a little bit of force, caught a body on the way through. I was lucky enough to call Braylon Bridges for a big chunk of his stint down in the NBL1 South. And don't be fooled, he's got the power, but as you mentioned, he's got that nice touch around the rim and a very lethal jump hook as well. We move along now to the NBL1 West, and this is a feel-good story. This is a heart and soul guy, Ryan Godfrey. He turned back the clock for the Flames. This is a dude who won an NBL1 national title with Rockingham when that competition very first started. He had 31 points, shot 8 of 16 from deep, and you just know everyone watching was absolutely loving Ryan Godfrey go about his business. Goes by the nickname Buff, I think, as well, which you just know he's going to be a heart and soul guy if he has the nickname Buff.
100%. And one of my favourite point guards in the country, Emmett Nah, long time, played against, a lot of battles with him, and he's the kind of guy that's going to find you shots. So, an awesome guy to play with.
He certainly is. Emmett Nah had time in the NBL1 South as well. Moving on, Cole, and Abby Ellis.
Yes, massive, massive game for Abby. 31 and 11. She's a guard, but to be able to rebound the ball, 11 rebounds at the guard position is pretty impressive. It allows you to start transition offense, get into the groove, and obviously hit a massive three here. Similar to the one we saw this week, UConn against Duke. That sort of range, that sort of bucket, nothing but nets. So.
Yeah, big three. Maybe not quite as much on the line with that one, but
Yes.
certainly the right distance and yeah, very impressive. Abby Ellis, who's really starting to put it together at WNBL level as well. So one to keep your eye on across the years. And finally, moving on to a game that I actually had the pleasure of commentating. Colin Moore, new import for the Mount Gambier Pioneers. This guy was dunking absolutely everything in the first half. He had 25 points, Kyle, the half time. Didn't score after that. Unbelievably, you can see him out on the break. You know when guys are dunking and doing windmills in warm-ups that they're going to probably know how to throw the ball down when it gets to a game? And he certainly did that and caught a body along the way. But 25 points and not a single point at halftime, that doesn't happen very often.
No, it sure doesn't. I mean, I'd love to watch that second half back a little bit more in detail and see, was it something they weren't going to him as often? Did he get as many field goal attempts or whatever? But I know if I got 25 at the half, it's going up in the second half.
It certainly is. They still managed to hold on to win, by the way. They were up by about 15 at the half, and they only took home the victory by 3 points in that one. But yeah, credit where it's due. They managed to hold on, and Colin Moore, a big first half, and maybe needs to work on that second half a little bit. Could have had a 50 piece. Moving on to somebody who I think the country is going to be keeping their eye on, and that is Luke Paul. So this is a youngster. He was the youngest player to ever sign an NBL Next Star contract. He made his debut for the COE over the weekend. Cole, have you seen much of him?
Yeah, the snippets I've seen of him, I mean, his size really stands out at that point guard spot. I think his ability to change speeds at that size is really important. And, it's transferable skills as we talk about going to the NBL as a next star and on to NBA dreams and all these things for Luke. His size and ability to see over the defense is a big advantage. We saw this with Josh Giddey, right? Playing the one, me being a smaller guard, I've sort of got to see around defenses, whereas they've got the ability to see over the defense. So I think it's a really transferable skill for him as he moves up.
And do you think the NBL teams will just be lining up now to make sure that he comes to their club in the upcoming season?
I think so. If he's putting together performances like this, I think, the world's his oyster, and we're backing Luke in big time.
Yeah, we certainly are. Now, let's hear from somebody who had, well, the pleasure, or maybe not the pleasure if he's putting on a show. Jason Cadet, he played against him on the weekend. Let's hear what Jason had to say about Luke Paul.
Really liked him. Obviously, I'd seen him play juniors, but having played against him and just watched him on the floor as we were playing, he's not only a very good player now, he's going to be a very good player for a long time. And I think mainly just because of how he plays, his poise, he just seems like he's always playing at his own pace. And I think kids that play at their own pace, their own tempo, often that's a very, very good sign they're going to be a good player for a long time. I think obviously his ability to decision make and make plays. I think we get confused these days with people being point guards, combo guards. Where let's get it straight. He's a natural point guard. The way he kind of, even with that group of young kids, young guys, young men, the way he just orchestrates it, carries the ball, puts them in places. I think that'll translate straight away. Just his ability to organize and feel comfortable. And then I think as time goes on, like he's genuinely 6'7", so his ability to get downhill and play at the rim, I think his 3-point shot and all that will still come with time. But I think the one thing that will definitely translate straight away is just his ability to play at his own pace and get downhill and find other people. You got to look at teams that haven't really had a natural point guard. Like I look at an Adelaide, they could use a point guard, and alongside Bryce, if he was to play 10 to 15 a night, you've got a kid that's 6'6", 6'7", so that wouldn't be a bad landing spot for him. You've got to look at places like Cairns, Brisbane. Like there's a heap of places. I think he needs to find somewhere where they're going to give him a chance to live and learn a little bit. I don't expect him to play 30 minutes, but if he can play that 10 to 15 a night where he can play through some mistakes and some learnings and the group around him is good enough to protect him a little bit, I think that's the perfect landing spot. He'll be an NBA player. It sounds weird to say that after playing one game against a kid with Bankstown on a Sunday afternoon, but I just think that the talk around him is high after seeing him now in person amongst some other stuff I've seen of juniors. he's got a long way to go and a lot of work to do, but them picking the right spot, which I'm sure they will go a long way into it, but I think he's got the makings of essentially another Josh Giddey.
Great to hear from Jason Cadee there. Moving along now to the Scout. Who are we keeping our eye on this weekend? Plenty of basketball, as I mentioned. Kyle, tip things off for us.
We're going to go with Magok Manyang. He's a DP over in Adelaide at the moment, playing in the Central. He is for the Central District Lions. He is a problem. Size at this level, NBL1, it's really standing out. He's 26 a night with 11 rebounds, currently averaging 29 and 10.5 rebounds for the season. So I think, again, transferable skills, like we talk about going to the NBL level, is, you got Bryce Cotton scoring the ball. So for him to be able to sort of level up to that next level, it's these little things: rebounding, blocking shots, being a good positional defender, using his voice, all those sorts of stuff. It's very obvious he can score, 6'10" with those sort of skills, catching lobs, doing everything. So very transferable skills and an exciting prospect to watch.
Yeah, he's a 36ers development player. Do you think that the 36ers would be saying to him, hey, we want to see X, Y, Z when you go back down to the NBL1, and that may, help progress your career?
Definitely. I think role clarity is really, really important for these guys coming into that next level. You may have been a scorer at the NBL1 level, for example, but as I said, you move into the NBL and you've got Bryce Cotton in front of you. So how do you get him open? How do you find your shooters? How do you make those 1% plays? And as you build trust from your coaching staff, then you can sort of expand your game and start to find your spots on the floor. So I think that they've had that conversation without a doubt.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We know that these guys can come back and dominate at this level, but it's also what the people and coaches at the next level want to see, that they have to try and implicate and input at the same time. For me, I'm heading out to the NBL1 West for the player I want to keep my eye on. Claire Jacobs, playing for the Magic, had a big game on the weekend, 34 and 7 dimes. Now, her sister might feel a little hard done by Mia, who plays on the same team, because she had 22, 18 and 8, which is a pretty good weekend as well. So let's just say this is a package deal. We're going to keep an eye on both of the Jacobs sisters. But Claire, 6 foot tall guard, can shoot, as we've seen through these highlights. Real danger. That's a good duo right there. She spent her college basketball at LaSalle and Nevada. Her sister Mia was at Oregon. So pretty good basketballing pedigree right there, Cole.
Absolutely. Reminds me of a young Jordan Adnam, Kyle Adnam combo in the domestic league back in the day at Kilsyth.
Just dominating the floors of Kilsyth out the back there. Some good battles, no doubt about that. Let's take a look at the top 5 plays, the Amy top plays of the men's and women's from the weekend.
Play. Wallace takes a stab at it. McSpadden steps up, sets a little step-up screen. Rochi trying to find a gap to the rim. Somehow gets it to go. Rochi, somehow. There is no way known she saw the rim on that one.
Yeah, Patton. Good offensive set there. Found the shooter, just didn't do the right thing to finish it.
Berry. Quick give to Doran, inside pass.
Oh,
Patton.
amazing!
Oh, no hood for you, says Fotu.
Said like a true big, Jess. I like that.
Little bit biased.
The 1-2 step, Jessie May Hall.
Funda looking to go to work. Off the dribble. Oh, yes, goes down. And one opportunity for Funda Nakasoglu.
And on the shot clock now for the Sabres. Picks it up, looks to Stamatilopoulos, finds her, who just goes right at Howden again. Spin hard, right hand layup, and Guntrip says, I've had enough. We're going to have a timeout and chat about this.
Made a good career out of hitting jump shots is Keely Froling. Now she's got a guard, Louise Brown. Brown goes to work, good D here by Froling. Brown, blocked by Froling.
Green set with 5. Oh, she's got inside. She's got downhill. Got it up. Another 2 points as the siren shows us it's the end of half-time, and Morales.
Riley wants movement from her team there. Ellis is a long way back. Abby Ellis! Cometh the moment, cometh the superstar.
That never looks like missing. My goodness.
So one thing, you're playing from behind against Dean Nyberg teams. Dean Nyberg is traditionally...
And a huge dunk for Bridges over the top of Bakewell.
Australian 3-on-3 player, Gangaroo.
What a pass for Jason
great
Kadee.
pass around the corner, finds its mark, and Kamu's on the board.
And he was a big reason for some of their upset victories in 2025. Right now, here is Johnson, the spin cycle, the razzle dazzle.
Only the 3 fouls called in this quarter as well, which considering
Well,
the
you gotta-
physicality it's been played with is quite remarkable.
Well, you don't get-
And Ringwood have
no.
turned the ball over from the inbound, and here comes Moore, who just put it on Tom Carroll's head.
Wow. Effortlessly is the word I was trying to say as Fitzer kicks one out to Hoppo. Hoppo wants to have another shot, but goes into Tomasi. It gets blocked by Machop Manyang. He says, no, get out of my house.
So
I always find that it's the smaller guys who are putting their bodies on the line.
he also loves getting up against the bigs. He's got a really... Oh, my goodness.
Jokes, did you see that? I don't even think Nah was looking where that pass was going.
So a chance here for Hobart. Rosendale looking to attack strong, goes up. Oh, rejected by Penn. Get that out of here.
No surprise, Matty Rocci featuring heavily in that one. No surprise at all. Now moving on to our favourite segment, Social Media Watch. Now, Kyle, you're new to this, but we like to pick out the best of what the NBL1 has to offer when it comes to social media. And the clubs and the leagues, they're getting a bit more creative of late. So this was the Bendigo Braves with their version, a basketball version of musical chairs. Now, I don't know about you, Cole, but that just makes me a little bit worried. I tense up a bit when I'm watching that, when I see professional athletes diving for chairs. It was fun to watch, but it gets me a little bit worried.
Yeah, mate, you never know. You never know what's going to happen in those scenarios. Balls can go everywhere. You trip over your teammate and 2 of you are out for the weekend. So, but
Yeah.
very creative, very creative.
Very creative indeed. And they've got some good merch coming out, the Bendigo Braves as well. Their Staples collection, very good. So you can check out their social media and make sure everybody else send in your clips. If you've got some great stuff that you think deserves a spot here on the NBL1 show, let us know. We'll make sure to get it up. So that brings an end Cole Adnam's debut episode. Cole, if you're self-reflective, how do you think the performance was?
Oh, I'll go a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah. I think good insights. I think good conversation, but I think there's room to grow. I think we can engage a little bit more. I've got a few jokes in the back pocket. Maybe I'll save them for the future. Can't
wait to hear those ones. Nothing like a professional athlete always gives themselves just a little bit. They know that they could be better. That's the mentality, isn't it?
Of course. Of course.
Too good. Well, thank you to Kyle and thank you to everyone. Make sure you enjoy your KO game of the week.